Good morning, everybody! Welcome to another edition of Jake and Justin in the Morning. Hope you have all been well. We have a special guest for you, and it is, for the second time, he is the first person to appear on Jake and Justin in the Morning twice. Please welcome, from the Sports Media Club, Robbie Finizio! Robbie, how are ya?
Guys, I'm doing well. I just want to say thank you again for having me on. I did not know that I was the first person to be on twice. I didn't think I was that special, but it's a pleasure to be on here with you guys today. We had some technical difficulties, but we're going to persevere through that. Right, Justin? I think, listen, we learned a lot of lessons.
I'm throwing hands with somebody at Apple today. I'm just telling you that right now. I'm about to throw hands with
A
somebody.
lot of threats
Justin had some
against
problems, but
executives
now he's
at
all right.
Apple. There were a lot of threats
I'm
thrown
throwing
at
hands with
executives
somebody
at
at Apple.
Apple.
Currently, I'm sitting outside right now, by the way. I'm
If
pissed.
anything happens to Tim Cook, I don't know who Justin is. By the way, just wanted to put that out
Yeah,
there.
I
Just
don't know
so
him either.
everyone
It's
knows.
what, this is I'm Jake's clone.
Yeah, I'm sure you are.
Anyway,
you are.
Robbie, what did you have for Breck?
Okay, today, great question. So, I recently got back into cereal. I wasn't a cereal guy for probably a few years. I was not into cereal, but I'm back on it. Honey Nut Cheerios. That has been a staple. Got a huge family-sized box. Honey Nut Cheerios. I did like 2 bowls today. Cup of joe, cup of coffee. Simple, easy, best way to start the day.
Justin, what about you?
Salt. I ate salt.
All right.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm salty. I'm salty right now. I'm very salty.
All right, Robbie. I also had, along with my bagel and cream cheese, I also poured into a bowl a giant box of cereal. I also had Cheerios, but I had multigrain Cheerios.
A nice cousin to the Honey Nut Cheerio.
Correct.
And actually a healthier option. I've actually never had them, so I can't speak on if they're good or not. Are they good?
Justin disagrees with me, but I think they're very good. I'm still looking for another person who eats them.
Were they as bad as I
can't
thought
say if
they
I
were? Okay, were they as bad as I thought they were? No. But they did taste like the files in a filing cabinet. So
They do not. They taste wonderful.
then what do they taste like? What exactly do they taste? You say they taste good. What is the exact flavor of a multigrain Cheerio? Because I know the flavor of a Honey Nut Cheerio. It tastes like it tastes like cardboard with honey on it. But what does a multigrain Cheerio taste like?
I don't see. I can say that about a plain Cheerio. It does taste like cardboard, but the Honey Nut Cheerio is like not even in the same boat as a regular Cheerio. Honey Nut Cheerio was like a completely different cereal than the Cheerio. The Cheerio was literally like if you took like a piece of cardboard and started chewing it. A Honey Nut Cheerio is a nice, mildly sugary, but just enough, little oval, tastes great. Not the same as a Cheerio. Multigrain Cheerio I cannot speak on though.
I'm waiting for the bee from the Honey Nut Cheerios commercial to start flying around you while you're talking about that. They're gonna start saying how
I'm the spokesman. I'm the spokesman for Honey Nut Cheerios.
I'm a spokesperson for multigrain Cheerios.
And I guess I'm the sponsor for Morton's Salt. So anyway, we got a great show for you today. I got to be a little bit quieter because I'm outside with the general community. But anyway, let's start off with this one. Let's put it simply. This weekend in London, the Jets played the Falcons, and they kind of got destroyed. I mean, I know they only lost by a touchdown, but it was not even close for them the entire game. So let's talk about it. Jake, let's hear what you got to say first, because I got my own few words.
All right, let me just say this. I bet you if my last name was LaFleur and my older brother was the head coach of the Green Bay Packers and was in the NFC Championship twice in a row, and he's only been coaching for 2 years, and my best friend was the new head coach of the Jets, I bet you I would be the offensive coordinator of the New York Jets. Okay, Matt LaFleur is not a good coach. It is not working out. His play calling is terrible. The only reason he has a job is because the only reason he had a job in the first place is because he had Kyle Shanahan to lean on. The only reason he has a coordinator position is because that his older brother is one of the best coaches in the NFL, and his best friend is the head coach of a team that he's on. Like I said, if I had the same last name as it and I was friend of Robert Saleh, I bet I could do just as good as him. Right? It really has not worked out. I mean, Zach Wilson, he's got a little bit of a turnover problem. He's got to make some more of the boring plays. When it comes to their offense, a couple of adjustments I would make. I would simplify the offense for Zach Wilson. They're a little too complex for a rookie right now. I would make Michael Carter like the 3-down back. I mean, he's gotten most of the carry, but they've mixed in Ty Johnson and some other backs. I would give it all to Carter. If you want to sprinkle in Tevin Coleman, fine. He does know the system. He knows Robert Saleh, obviously, from San Francisco. If you want to have Ty Johnson catch a couple balls, fine, but he shouldn't be getting any carries. Also, you don't have a true number one, but you have a 3 or 4 guys that can catch the ball. So I would spread the ball around a little bit more. Don't just throw the Corey Davis, because besides his first game, the one big play he had 2 weeks ago, he hasn't really done anything. So those would be adjustments I would make to the offense. But yeah, my takeaways there is Matt LaFleur is just a moron.
And I mean, I would say for the Jets, it's disappointing to see they couldn't take the momentum from that win against Tennessee and bring it to the next week, because I thought this was a game that they really could have won, because in Atlanta there's just a lot of question marks. Matt Ryan kind of like not really like, I mean, to no surprise, hasn't been himself. Hasn't been anything near what like a peak Matt Ryan has been in his career. So a lot of question marks in Atlanta, but for the Jets' sake, I mean, I know they lose this one, but I think there's a couple positives to take from it, and it's more comparing to last season. I mean, they produce more. I mean, and Zach Wilson is definitely competent. That's I think maybe it's early, but you can definitely make the statement that he's competent. He's gonna make those rookie mistakes, but he's getting the job done. That's if you're a Jets fan, you got to say, hey, he's getting the job done. He's dependable. He can play the rest of the season. Like, without any other outside effects, he can play the rest of the season, and we actually might win a couple more games. And then, like you said, with the running backs, I mean, Carter, Johnson, you kind of can mix up reps with them, but it's good to see the Jets actually scoring points. They're actually putting up a fight here. And they played this game at 9:30 too, and I was always interested about when they do those overseas games, like why they don't just play later in the afternoon. Like, do you guys know why they do that? Because I know, like, the time difference, but why don't they just play later and have it around the 1 o'clock slate? I always thought it was weird they do that.
Maybe because that when they saw it was Jets Falcons, they were like, we cannot put this game on prime time.
It can't be a prime.
And now we got Dolphins.
Well, the thing is that
that's not any better.
True.
Yeah, well, the thing is that the game, the interesting thing is that London is 5 hours ahead of us. So currently, as we're recording this right now, it's 11:14 p.m. there. So when they were playing in, when they were playing in London, it was actually around 2:30. So that's probably why the time zone is there. If they were to play at 4 here, they'd be playing at 9 at night in London. That's probably why. But anyway, all I have to say is this. You played against the Atlanta Falcons, the team that's notorious for choking. And you still couldn't win. You really couldn't. And also, I don't know what is up with the LaFleurs and kicking and kicking a field goal late in the fourth quarter. It's like, I'm tired of seeing it from them. It's just a dumb call. Go for the touchdown. No matter what, you're down by 10. Make the right play. Anyway, so Robbie, while we're on the topic of another New York team, the Giants also got
Robbie's face.
rolled as well. They also got rolled as well. They got a little beat up, didn't they?
So, well, it's the tale of injury and next man up and who's going to step up, who's not going to step up. So I just need to talk about this play. So the Giants are what? I don't know what the down was, about 2 yards out of touchdown. And so, like, kind of like an RPO kind of play, Daniel Jones goes out left. He's got 2 huge linemen just way bigger than him, and he goes head first trying to dive in like he's Cam Newton. Like, just one of those plays where it's just like, you're just not that guy. You don't need to be that guy. Devontae Booker has been playing well. Why don't you just give it to him? Why don't you get all his receivers? That play very much confused me. I was very concerned for his health because he was literally walking like a zombie after that play.
Yes, he was. That was
his
scary.
neck was like turned. I was like, what? I don't know why you're doing that. Why are you going head first when you got a lot of other options? But for the Giants, the defense got exposed to a really high-powered offense. Dallas is good. Dallas is legitimately good. Dallas is legitimately a contender for the NEC, or not the NEC, the NFC.
They definitely would win that.
I hope they would win the NEC. But they're definitely a contender right now for the divisional title, and they do look like I hate to say it, they look like a playoff team. And it's early, but they look like a playoff team. They got all the right things going for them. Zeke is feeling like Zeke again. Dak is just right where he is. Right before that injury, he's right back there. He's high performance. What was that?
You mean the cramp?
I hope that's just a cramp. But they got all the right things going for the Giants. Again, it's a lot about, and it's not that our defense has necessarily gotten worse. It's the problem is just they're on the field so long. They're tired. It's the third quarter, and the Cowboys have had the ball for more than half the game. They're tired, and the offense is not with Mike Glennon. You're not doing much more than third and out, maybe one first down. You're not winning games with Mike Glennon. I can tell you this right now. If they want to win any games, they need to pick up Cam Newton off the waiver wires because Mike Glennon will not win a single game. Mike Glennon can't win a preseason game. He's not winning a regular season game. But else, Devontae Booker has stepped up under Barkley, and Tony actually looks to be a good draft pick. He's shifty. He's shown all the signs that he did in Florida. So I'm actually excited to see how that's going to be. We got the Rams coming up on Sunday, so that's going to be another. I mean, it's a great defense, so we're going to have to see how we do against them. But I think Jones might be all right to play. Kind of going to be like probably a game time decision. But, yeah, I mean, whenever we play Dallas, they usually do run up a score on us. So wasn't too surprised to see this. But, yeah, go Giants, man. Go Giants.
Oh,
I mean,
sorry, Justin. Just an update. Saquon Barkley is injured again.
Yep.
Oh, by the way, the Giants took him over Josh Allen, the quarterback of the Bills. The one who's like the MVP favorite, and just saying.
yeah,
I don't think that taking Barkley is a bad pick, and I know everybody who likes to critique the Giants says that they make terrible first-round draft picks because they drafted Jones,
they do.
drafted Barkley.
Excuse me.
They do.
Gentlemen's
They do
a
make
joke.
terrible first-round draft picks. You had a very, very high a defensive prospect and a guy that also happens to be named Josh Allen, and you picked Daniel Jones. So yeah,
I mean, I think the problem is not necessarily who we picked. The problem is that we didn't understand the team we have. We don't really have an offensive line, so it's hard to draft a running back that can't really make those holes. And for the quarterback who is in his first, obviously 2 years, he's not as experienced. He doesn't know how to handle having less than like 3 seconds to get the ball off. But if we had a better offensive line, I think these picks would not have been questioned nearly as much because Daniel Jones would have been able to run more. Barkley would have been able to run more. Probably would have gotten injured less because he's not getting hit as much. But when you see that line collapse, it's hard to say why did they not get a lineman. That's a different story. But I think the players, like I think Daniel Jones is starting to really flourish this year, more so than he ever has. He's very much more confident. He's got more passion. He's got more emotion. He wants to be there. He wants to win. Barkley is just, it's unfortunate. Like he just tripped over someone. It's not even like in his control. And of course, that's the kind of thing that happens in New York. Is that we have Barkley out for a whole year on an ACL. He's able to recover very quickly, and that kind of thing happens. Now I don't know how long he's going to be out, but again, the people being drafted are good, but maybe the team is not fit for them. That might be the problem currently.
The Giants currently 1-4 as well as the Jets. Let's see if they can turn around this year. I hope they do. Next topic, also about the NFL. NFL coaches, aside from some of them being really bad, are also just really stupid. And I'm talking about Urban Meyer and John Gruden, the two big coaches here. So let's first start off with Urban Meyer here, to where
Yeah.
he was caught at a club, with a girl that clearly wasn't his wife on him. So what do we think about this issue right here?
The Urban Meyer thing, and I did see the press conference where he kind of like explained himself, and I don't think he's really good at lying because he was just like, yeah, I was at a bar and someone wanted to take a picture with me, and it was all friendly, and then like you see the video and
Some
he's
picture.
having a good time, and the picture, like it's not a good look. I'm not gonna lie to you, it's not a good look for Urban Meyer.
Yeah, my take on it, Urban Meyer, I think will be gone by week 13. Okay, this guy has no clue what he's doing. He is not meant for the NFL. He said, oh, I skipped a team play. I needed a mental day. I need to clear my head. I mean, if clearing his head is going and hanging out with multiple women that is not his wife, meanwhile his wife goes on Twitter or social media, it's like, I'm just babysitting the grandkids, and I saw this picture of my husband, and yeah, it just kind of happened. Urban Meyer is an idiot off the field. He's an idiot on the field. He will not get through this season. Get this guy out of Jacksonville and get this guy out of the National Football League. He's a great college coach, one of the greatest college coaches ever, but in the NFL, he is a complete joke.
Yeah, I mean, if we're talking about Urban Meyer, yeah, he is really stupid for that. But it's very, very reminiscent of the Jacksonville defense, right? Something comes forward and it just falls all apart, right? Anyway, now to the bigger story that's happened this week. John Gruden has resigned from the LA Raiders for the Vegas Raiders. I was about to just say Oakland Raiders because that's what I always remember them as for the past couple of years of my life, but he has just resigned for getting emails for emails being leaked out of him saying very racial, misogynistic, homophobic things like the idiot he is. So what do we think about this? Because now John Gruden is basically out of a job. I don't think he's ever going to get a job again after this.
That's a good point. I mean, geez, John Gruden. I mean, it's like he was just such a presence in football. I mean, Monday night he was coached the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. He was, and one of the biggest things that I remember, and kind of why I actually was very interested in Gruden is when I watched him on Hard Knocks about, I guess, 2 years ago, was it? With the Raiders, with AB and all that, and like all the kind of the energy he brings to the locker room and all of that, and it's it's one of those things where now you got to think. I mean, how many more coaches might follow the same thing if their emails get checked as well? Because Gruden, I mean, he may not be the only offender, but it sucks a lot, especially for his players. Like I watched Derek Carr's press conference on it, and he's like, I loved them. I mean, they spent so much time together with the Raiders, working together, talking about the goals, and to see that abrupt change where he's not going to have him as a coach anymore. It's sad to see, and I hopefully other coaches take this lesson as when I'm hired by a team, I represent the team and the players, and I want to do the best for them, and I feel like Gruden may not have been looking out for everybody, and it's a tough situation, but unfortunate for both sides of it, really.
Yeah, it was just very unfortunate what happened with John Gruden. Not a good luck for the league. I'm hoping that that this kind of speed up the investigation into what's going on in Washington. I know Dan Snyder did not believe his handling day-to-day operations. Most of that is his wife, but still, that's not really justice for all the women that were sexually assaulted. And there is a connection there. I believe some stuff Gruden did send to Bruce Allen, who no longer is employed there, but he was the president of Washington during this time. and just obviously the anti-gay remarks and the anti-female remarks just have no place in the game, and it's almost more concerning that it took 10 years for the story to come out. I'm not sure if it's because people are more
Yeah.
sensitive now, or just it was covered up, or
Yeah.
no one really thought of it, but not a good look for the league, not a good look for Gruden. John Gruden's career is definitely over, at least at the NFL, so definitely deserves to get fired, and hopefully, I feel really bad for Carl Nassib because he is the first openly gay player. See his coach make those remarks. He took a personal day. Robbie, like you said, Derek Carr, who did really like Gruden, just taking the back. He's like, I love Badu, but obviously, you can't do that. It's basically what he said. So, it's
Yeah, and I agree
it's a
with
real
you,
shame.
Jake.
Really a shame.
I agree with you, Jake. Like, and the thing too is like a lot of the emails stem from like 2011, so this is like 10 years of knowledge and it reflects really like not only maybe the Buccaneers, it reflects ESPN who hired him as well as the Raiders organization. And I wonder why even in the first place they ended up finding the emails or they're looking for something else. Uh, I don't know. I guess those are all things that I think about when these kind of stories come out. But again, it's a bad reflection on really all the organizations that hired him, dealt with him, and obviously to himself and the team. It is unfortunate.
Yeah, this is just absolutely horrible. It really is. It's disgusting to see the emails that were sent out from John Gruden. And I mean, he was quite a respected coach in the league as well. So just hearing this is even worse. And he just burnt a lot of bridges. And who knows, maybe he'll be coaching with Adam Gase soon, wherever they are. With the rejects there. Anyway, let's move on to the NBA because, ladies and gentlemen, we are about 5 days from the NBA coming back. My addiction, my withdrawal symptoms are about to come to an end because I'll be able to watch one game of basketball every day with the league pass that my mom oh so generously bought me. And because of that, I gotta ask a few preseason questions to the people on this panel today. First things first. Who do we think? I know that a lot of rookies. Well, let's first start off with this. I know that a lot of rookies in the NBA or rookies in general, you can't guarantee anything with them. You can't guarantee that they'll be really well, nor can you guarantee that they'll be garbage either. So, as of what we've seen right now, who do you guys think is going to be the rookie of the year?
My pick is probably going to be Jalen Green from the Houston Rockets. He was picked second. This guy is one of the purest scorers I have ever seen come out of a draft in a long time. Alf doesn't have a ton of help in Houston, though he does have Christian Wood, who's a great player. John Wall is there for now. I don't think he lasts past midseason there, but he is there for now. So he does have a couple of playmakers there for now. And I think he is an ultra talented player. I think he's going to have an amazing career. He is my pick for Rookie of the Year.
I don't know if I can speak on the rookies. I don't think I know enough rookies to tell you guys, to be honest. I was really thinking about that question, and I don't know if I know enough rookies. I usually I get more familiar with them once the season starts, but I really don't know. I mean, I'd rather you tell me, Justin. Who do you think? You muted.
I muted myself, of course. Of course I did. I would. The salt is just rising up to where I'm going to be having high blood pressure for the rest of my life at this rate. Really. Ugh. Um. But anyway, I know a lot of people. I am probably one of the only people who is not entirely sold on Cade Cunningham yet. I think he's a great player. However, I'm not necessarily sure if I'm going to call him the front runner for Rookie of the Year. The player that I think just because of his college performance overall is probably Davion Mitchell from Baylor. And two words, March Madness. He went off. He played phenomenal defense and he was a great shooter. And what does he get rewarded for? Being drafted to the Sacramento Kings. That's his reward for that. But I think if anybody's going to be able to turn this team around, at least just a little bit, because he's got Tristan Thompson anchoring him down, it'll probably be Davion Mitchell, and I think he does have potential to be Rookie of the Year. Now, next I want to talk about the most valuable player, the MVP, because that's a big one as well. And I think this year in particular, I'm going to say this right now before we continue. I think this is going to be one of the best seasons in basketball we've had in years. Because aside from the two super teams in the Nets and the Lakers, you every team now except for like the Wizards and all like the low tier teams are balanced. When was the last time the Bulls have looked promising? Prime Derrick Rose, which only lasted for like a year and a half, or maybe 2 years at least. So who do you think is gonna be the MVP this year?
Well, yeah, Justin, I like your point about the way that the league is kind of like flattened out a lot. I mean, we watched Warriors versus Cavs finals like it feels like 8 years in a row. So coming from that and the last couple seasons and coming into this year, I mean, there's just talent all over, and it reminds me a lot of like the early 2000s NBA when there was just always at least one or two guys that could be playmakers and make a run for the playoffs. Um, my MVP pick this year actually is Luka. I actually really like Luka this year. I like the Mavs, and I know you're making the eyes, and I love the haters, and no, I actually think Luka has a good shot this year. I think he's talent um, in the right place in Dallas, and yeah, that's my MVP candidate.
When it comes to my MVP pick, there's a couple of guys I think could win it. I will say Luka is one of them. He's very talented. He's a complete crybaby, and he has very principled faith. I don't really like him. I mean, and I think his best friend's name is Owen. You know, Owen as in 0-2 in the first round of the playoffs. So anyway, believe it or not, my pick for MVP is actually I am not a fan, but it's Kevin Durant. I think my pick for MVP is Kevin Durant. It might not happen. I mean, last year Nikola Jokic, we all knew was an elite player. No one really picked him for MVP, and he just had an incredible year. I think it's going to be Kevin Durant because right now at least he is fully healthy. Yes, he did get injured last year, but he was coming up like torn Achilles. At after 30 years old, very few people have done that and been successful. And when he was on the court, of course, he was probably the best player in the NBA. I would say he's the best player in the world right now. He does not have Kyrie Irving. He doesn't have Kyrie right now. Who knows what's going on with him? But he does have James Harden, who, when healthy, is probably a top 5 player in the league as well. So not only is Durant probably the best player in the world right now with LeBron on his way down, and obviously Giannis is not as good as Kevin Durant. And he also has a top 5 player in the world alongside in James Harden. And he's got a lot of other very good players over there in Brooklyn, obviously a very talented team. So I'm going to go with Kevin Durant.
Both of you make really, really exceptional arguments, I should say, for who your MVP should be. And yeah, I think a lot of players could take it this year because they're all just so good. Uh, I I was kind of on the fence of maybe saying Anthony Davis, but he's had history of injuries. That's also why I'm not so sure about Kevin Durant either, because he's also because it almost seems like every time he falls over, he's out until All-Star break. And so all I'm saying is that he does have potential to be MVP. I just hope that he'll play enough games to prove that he can be MVP, because I would just find it unfair if he were to play like 30 out of 82 games and we're calling him MVP. The player that I think though is gonna make MVP is one that's a little bit out of the kind of out of left field here. But I'm going to say it's Damian Lillard who will be the MVP, because but I think that's been his entire career on the Portland Trailblazers. All he's done is just carry this team. I know he's had a great player by his side, CJ McCollum. They make a great backcourt duo, especially when they're both especially when CJ McCollum is on point. They're, in my opinion, I think they're one of the best backcourts in the league at that rate. But it was always Damian Lillard who you know this guy can consistently shoot from the logo, and not only that, he's one of the most clutch shooters in the league. So if he can get them to a really deep playoff run or even a relatively high seed this year, I think Damian Lillard is potentially the MVP. Last thing here. Who do we think, and this is one that's caused a lot of debates right now because like I said, the reason why this season is so good is because it feels like everything's kind of at fair ground. So who do you guys think is the National Basketball Association Finals Championship winner?
All right, I'm gonna say my answer, then I'm gonna head out. Like I said, Jake, I do have to get going, but I'm gonna say my answer. I'm not even gonna explain why. I'm just gonna say it. I'm gonna let it sit there. 2022 Finals champion. It's the New York Knicks, baby. Bringing the finals back to the Garden. Well, I don't know about that, but I actually really do like the Knicks this year, and they actually did. They actually didn't have a terrible season last year. They were legitimate playoff team, legitimate playoff team. So why not? Why not? That's all I'm gonna say. Jake, Justin, thank you for having me. Please, let's make it a third time. All right.
Definitely, definitely.
All right. I'll see you guys later.
All right, Robbie. Thanks for coming, Robbie.
Thanks for having me.
All right. As Robbie exits, my pick for who will win the NBA championship. Listen, like you said, for the first time in a long time, there really is no clear favorite. You know, for years, every year it was like, oh yeah, Golden State's gonna win, or they're probably gonna play Cleveland. For like 27 years in a row, you know, it was Golden State Cleveland. I was thinking like Steph and LeBron are gonna be 60 and they're still gonna be playing each other. And then, you know, last couple of years, last year we thought, oh, the Brooklyn Nets got to get in. They got Durant and Kyrie healthy. And once they got Harden, obviously injuries prevented that. And this year it's pretty wide open for the first time in a very long time. Because it's so wide open, I think we're going to have someone who, although they are in the chip, they are a championship contender. They're what you consider a championship contender. They're not, everyone's picking the Nets or the Lakers. The Lakers, they got LeBron, AD, and Russell Westbrook, probably 3 top 10 players in the league, and they got some other good players too. But I don't trust LeBron James. I just don't. I just don't trust. I think LeBron is a slight half a step from where he used to be. I think that team is very old. I just think they're going to run out of gas. Brooklyn, I'm not sure if they can win a championship without Kyrie Irving. And obviously they had Harden and Durant are coming off injuries of their own, like we discussed. So I'm going to go a tiny bit out of left field, not completely off the grid, but I'm going to say the winner of the 2022 NBA championship is the Phoenix Suns. I'm going to go with the Suns. Obviously, they were in the finals last year. They went up 2-0, I believe, and then lost 4 straight. Chris Paul's one of my favorite players of all time, one of the greatest players we've ever had. Has had a little trouble in the playoffs. Obviously, doesn't have a ring. That was his first finals appearance ever. But I think he gets it done. They got Devin Booker, Mikal Bridges, DeAndre Ayton, Cameron Payne. We went off in the playoffs last year. They got so many great players. Monty Williams is a great coach. New Orleans Pelicans, and wonder why I let them go for Alvin Gentry. Now, then they had Stan Van Gundy. Now they got whoever the heck they have. So that was definitely a mistake. The reason he was second in Coach of the Year polls last year behind Tom Thibodeau of the Knicks. So I'm going to say the Phoenix Suns get back there and Chris Paul finally gets his ring.
You know what? You make a great point there. It's really tough to choose this year, because you're right. The Lakers are old. I was never sold this year on the Nets winning the NBA championship. I know I've talked about that a lot because and a lot of people don't like it, but people need to think about reality here. There are way too many internal issues in that league, in that organization, especially revolving a man whose first name is Kyrie and last name is Irving. Um and And then also they're just a very injury heavy team because let's say for example let's say of course if Kyrie Irving gets the vaccine and he's eligible to play and then he stubs his toe on the jump ball and then is out for 20 games. That's literally how Kyrie works, and he's a great player. He is one of my favorite players, and he is and I do think he's one of the best point guards in the league when he actually survives a quarter of play. And I mean, it's just a shame also because they would be championship contenders had you didn't have because honestly, out of that big three, the healthiest player there is probably James Harden, who doesn't have a very high history of injuries. But there's only like Kevin Durant who kind of does. Kyrie Irving definitely does. And then once you lose those, James Harden's going to basically do what he had to do in Houston, and carry that team only to lose. Um, so and I do like your pick about the Suns because I wanted the Suns to win last year, but the Bucks were just better. And the Bucks this year are not winning the title. They don't have enough to win the title. But there is a team in the East that I believe does have enough to stand up against the Nets because I think the Nets do make Eastern Conference Finals. But there's a team who I think stands up against the Nets this year, and that's the Atlanta Hawks. I think the Atlanta Hawks will win the 2022 NBA championship because you got to think because here's what I thought about. They have a lot of great players who are just good at shooting the lights out. They really are. Trae Young, Bogdanovich, Lou Williams, and then you have a front court. You have front court of John Collins, Clint Capella. Like these are no small players. These are really really strong players that could come out of nowhere and take the championship. I mean, look what they did last year. Nobody thought they were making the Eastern Conference Finals last year, but they did. So let's see the Hawks do it. And now I'm probably gonna regret saying that because in the history of Atlanta teams, they don't really do too well in the playoffs because usually when they have a lead, they end up just losing it. But I think for Atlanta, this is a bit of a different situation because in all their playoff series, when they were in them, they had a lead and they won. So I think so. I think this might be one of the very few Atlanta teams that doesn't choke a playoff. That doesn't choke. So let's go Hawks. Yeah, but obviously, as Robbie said before he left, I'd love to see the Knicks in the championship. I'd love to see them take it home. I'm just not sure how possible it is, considering all of the considering the depth of some of these teams that they're going up against. Because yeah, they got Kemba Walker, they got Evan Fournier, they got Julius Randle and R.J. Barrett, but I just think the Hawks are probably a bit better than them. So let's see. So let's see the East win another chip. Here we go. But also, I just love to see the Suns win as well. Finally, our last segment. You hate to see it.
All right. So I had this big giant clap. Justin's got the golf clap. I say, all right. I will go first, Justin, if you don't mind. The first clip that we got here, I think Justin and I have talked about that. That's not what I want. Let's go. So I'm not sure if you guys saw, but this past Sunday, the Bengals and Packers had a wild game. Let's count the missed field goals. Oh, wait, that's a little loud. Hold on. At least on my end. Mason Crosby got one. There's one. Mason Crosby tries again. No good. That's two. All right, so we got two. Bengals are all excited. Oh, Evan McPherson to win the game. And No good. That's 3 missed field goals. Mason Crosby to win the game. And he misses. That's 4 missed field goals. 4 missed field goals already. Yeah, let's turn this down a little bit. That's pretty loud. Moving on. Mason Crosby tries again. Oh my lord! That is 5 missed field goals in one game between 2 teams. Bengals are all excited. The Bengals, 49-yard win. Here it comes. No way they're gonna miss again. No way to miss again. And they hit the upright. 6 missed field goals in one game. So, Justin, 1 to 10.
Do we even call this a 10 anymore? Do we even call this a 10? I'm gonna add the score. It's gonna be a 44 out of 10, man. This is just not right. I thought it was the Chargers out there, really, because they're special teams, because they're the team that's known for missing field goals this much. I was watching the last bit of this game with my grandfather, and we are both going nuts that they are missing these field goals, especially Mason Crosby, dude. If you count, Mason Crosby missed 4 of those 6 out of the 6 total field goals. And at that rate, cut the guy. Really, you missed 4 field goals straight. 44 out of 10. I don't know. I've lost all feeling. I don't even know. Do I hate to say it? I mean, yeah, but I've lost all feeling about it. So I guess I hate to say it, yeah.
Definitely a 10 for me. Oh my god. To all the viewers of this game, I apologize. I think you guys should see a head specialist. For any Sacred Heart students that watch this game, there are some mental health resources on campus. You got the Sweet that program, you got the Success Center, you got the Wellness Center. I guarantee you, this game made mental health issues go up probably 3%. Like that game, just looking at like a minute and a half of it, just gave me a headache. I can't imagine the poor viewers that watched the entire game. 10 out of 10. That was absolutely the most ridiculous thing I have ever seen in my entire life. Okay, just gotta, this thing is in my way, so I gotta, let's move to the next thing. That's all I want. Oh, shoot. What the heck is, sorry guys, I'm having some technical difficulties. I'll be right back. Oh, nope. Go away. So like this drop down bar is in my way. Shoot. I don't know what's going on. All right. So I'm not sure if you see this picture. It's like so these 4 analysts. We got Mike Tirico, who'll probably take over for Al Michaels in a couple years when he leaves. We got Tony Dungy, former Hall of Fame coach. Not quite sure who that is. See how they're all holding umbrellas? They're doing analysis in the rain. This is Rodney Harrison, the former defensive back, played for the Patriots, played for the Giants. Very good player. He's been an analyst for quite a while now. He has someone to hold his own umbrella. So these 3 guys gotta hold their own umbrella. This dude gets someone to hold his own umbrella for him. Justin, how much do we to see this dude has someone to hold his own umbrella for him? Meanwhile, these other 3 dudes don't get that.
I'm gonna give it an 8 out of 10. You know, umbrella holder isn't an amenity that you get when working working this thing, man. You're getting paid millions of dollars. Hold the damn umbrella. 8 out of 10.
I'm gonna give it a 10 out of 10, just because, like, okay, Tony Dungy is a Hall of Fame head coach, the first African American coach to ever win a Super Bowl. He won a Super Bowl with the Buccaneers, had a very good tenure in Indianapolis. And he has to hold his own umbrella. Meanwhile, Robbie Harrison, who was a very good player, but nowhere near Hall of Fame, has his own umbrella holder. I mean, is that on the payroll, NFL? Like, is that on the payroll? Like, how much money do they make? If they make, decent money, I might sign up for that to make a little money on the side. Like I saw this thing on Instagram on like a floor cleaner for the NBA makes like $80,000 a year. So like the guy's like, why does he have an umbrella holder? Dude, hold your own umbrella. 10 out of 10. All right, I got one more to score to show all of y'all. So okay, the Lightning are supposed to be the best team in the National Hockey League. Andrei Vasilevsky is supposed to be the best goalie in the National Hockey League. That being said, I don't think the reigning two-time champs, the best team in hockey with the best goalie in hockey, and makes plays like this. He passes it right to the Penguins player. Let's see a replay. Let's 0.5 this if I can. Yes, I can. So let's watch this. So he gets it. He's got the puck right here. So what he should do, if he sees a guy over here, he should probably leave it over here where my arrow is. And then he decided, let's just pass it right where 77 is. 77 just stops it, makes an easy pass to Danton Heinen, who has an easy goal. Justin, how much do you see the best goalie in the league just pass it right to the Pittsburgh Penguins?
See, this is why the Kings are better. They don't do this. They don't. This is why the LA Kings are better. They don't just they don't do stupid stuff like that. But yeah, I'm gonna give it a 9 out of 10. I mean, yeah, good one, Tampa Bay, for that play. Really showing your skill and prowess as a great team right there. I mean, what are you doing? Seriously, I watched the Devils, and this play was more disappointing than their entire season. 9 out of 10. I hate to see it.
I'm going to give it a 6 because I just don't care about the Lightning. It will be even lower, but that was just so funny. Like, and also, this is the first game of the NHL season, and it is 11 seconds into the game. So 11 seconds into the NHL season, and the reigning two-time NHL champs are their goalie, who's supposed to be the best goalie in the NHL, decide, let's just pass it right to the other team. What could go wrong? So that's a 6 out of 10. That is all the you hate to see it content that I have.
You know what? I don't really have that much anyway. I only got probably one for you, and that is in a preseason game. I know preseason doesn't matter, but you got to play better than this. Russell Westbrook, Lakers player, one of the greatest point guards in the league, by the way, in 39 minutes had 14 turnovers. Yes, that is right. 14 turnovers in 39 minutes. So how much is that? That's about what, 2 turnovers? Well, let's see here. If we do 39 divided by 14, that's about 2 turnovers a minute. Actually, no, not that. No, it's like 1 turnover every 2 minutes. Excuse me. I gave up on math. So, but anyway, how much do you hate to see it?
14 turnovers. They brought in this guy. I mean, they didn't give up a lot. They gave up Montrezl Harrell and Kentavious Caldwell-Pope, who are 2 decent bench players, and Kyle Kuzma, who apparently is an NBA player, and the first-round draft pick to get Russell Westbrook, who you could argue is a top 10 player in the NBA. But come on, dude. Preseason, you're playing against the team's backups, and you turn the ball over 14 times. Are you kidding me? This guy, he's a great player. He may go to the Hall of Fame one day. But this guy, I just think all he cares about is his stats. I mean, when it comes to the playoffs, then stats don't matter. The guy completely just breaks down. And, maybe he thought, you know what? I've gotten, double digits in everything in my career. Points, steals, rebounds, assists. I think it's time that I get double digits in turnovers. I'm not sure Russell Westbrook knows you're not supposed to do that. So I'll give it an 8 out of 10. It's not 10 because I just don't like the Lakers. I just don't like Russell Westbrook because he chokes in the playoffs. All he cares about is his stats.
Yeah, I'm going to give it a 14 out of 10, one for each rebound. Anyway, now it's time for Jake and Justin's Athlete of the Week, the one that everyone's been anticipating, of course. So, Jake, who is your Athlete of the Week? Because I got a story to tell for mine, but then, will you go first?
All right, my athlete of the week is Enrique Hernandez, also known as Kike Hernandez, the player on the Boston Red Sox. What a American League Division Series he had! At one point, he had 7 straight hits, including eight out of his last 9 at bats. He ended up going 9 for 20. He had like 450 and a couple of big home runs, a bunch of big RBIs. He made some good defensive plays. A monster series for him. He was one of the big reasons that the Boston Red Sox upset the Tampa Bay Rays in the American League Division Series. They face off against the Houston Astros in the American League Championship Series tomorrow night. He's my athlete of the week. Justin, what about you?
You already know who my Athlete of the Week is because I did it earlier this
Yes, you
afternoon.
did.
I did it earlier. So let me give a quick backstory. I didn't know who the hell I wanted to give my Athlete of the Week to. But I know I had it in between Clutch the Bear, Urban Meyer's girlfriend for putting up with him, or I should say, I had the entire state of Connecticut for not letting me watch the Knick game. But the one that I ended up choosing, actually, no, I actually didn't choose. I spun a wheel. I went to www.wheeldecide.com. Not sponsored,
True story, everyone.
not sponsored, by the way. And I spun the damn wheel. Well, no, I was also going to make Russell Westbrook my Athlete of the Week, potentially. But the thing that won in my little game of spin the wheel to the honor of Jake and Justin's Athlete of the Week is the people who had to film that god-awful Packers-Bengals game. They are the true athletes of the week. To literally sit there and watch six straight field goals missed in such a fashion. If it were me, I would have left. I would just kept the camera in one spot and I just would have left. I'm like, I'm gonna be here all day. That must have been the most painful experience they have ever dealt with. So salute to them, really. They are my athletes of the week. Good for them. Give them a raise, please.
Very good choice. People don't realize all the behind the scenes work that happens in sports. The cameramen are very important. I probably agree with Justin. I would have just taken out my tripod, put the camera on the tripod, and just set it to an angle that you can see the whole field, and just and my exclamation would be like, "I'm sorry if the angle wasn't perfect, but I just cannot take any more humility. These NFL kickers should not be missing 6 field goals. This shouldn't be happening." That's all we got for you today. I hope you enjoyed the show. The guest form is still open. Make sure you fill that out if you want.
Sign it.
So if you want to be